We look forward to an insightful session from you, ma'am. Over to you, ma'am.
Yeah, am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so I'm very sorry for my sore throat because in Bihar it's too much cold. So I'm having sore throat today. So just bear with me. So good evening to everyone present here, and I thank the organizers, co-organizers for having me today for this session, and especially Dr. Kalpesh Gupta ji. And it is an honor to speak on a theme that sits at the heart of any truly democratic society, that is justice for every child. When we talk about justice, we just have one image. We often imagine courtrooms, statutes, and judgments. But when we talk about justice for children, the canvas becomes far wider. And because children are not merely miniature adults, they are individuals with evolving capacities, unique vulnerabilities, and immense potential to shape the future. To begin today's session, the topic allotted to me was justice for every child, protecting rights and building futures. So, to start with a quote, the true measure of a nation is how it treats its children. Now, please change the slide, please. To begin with, when we directly jump to what are child rights and what is justice for child rights, so let us begin with the concept of rights. What are rights? So, rights are entitlements that every person has. They describe what others must do for you as well as what others must not do to you. So this is not only that what others must do for us, but what others must not do to us. For example, they must not discriminate against you or use violence. Next. Now, this concept of rights. So, rights basically dominate our understandings of what actions are proper and which institutions are just. Rights structure the forms of our governments, the contents of our laws, and the shape of morality as we perceive it. Right holders have corresponding duty bearer. The citizen is the right holder and the state the duty bearer. Governments have the obligation to ensure the realization of rights of citizens. So in jurisprudence we have also learned about rights, duties, uh, we privileges. Different schools of thoughts have given different connotation and definition of rights, but what we exactly understand in the layman's language is that we have certain things for which we are entitled, and there is a machinery which is the guardian to ensure that those rights are not infringed. Next. Now, coming to our topic today, which is very, very sensitive and very close to our hearts, even though one is dealing with child rights or not. Who is a child? First of all, there are debates, there are definitions, there are school of thoughts, there are statutes which define that who is a child, and children are defined in the CRC, Convention for Child Rights, UN Convention of Child Rights, as all those who are below the age of 18 years, right? So any person who is below the age of 18 years is considered as a child, and childhood is recognized in the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. And let me congratulate you all today. Today is 10th of December, Human Rights Day. And on this day, we are talking about rights. We are talking about the rights of children and how justice is ensured to children. So, childhood is recognized in UDHR as a period entitled to special care and assistance. Next. Now, when we talk about women and child in general, we say they are the people who are at the very lower strata in the society. Why we say, especially for children, why justice for every children matters? Why? Reason there being, Children constitute nearly one third of our population, and their well being is directly proportional to the well being of our nation. But justice for children is not just about protecting them from harm, it is about creating systems that allow every child to learn, grow, dream, and thrive. Because with our children, we have so many possibilities, we have our future enshrined in them. So we just not only protect them from any harm, but we should create a system. Being a citizen, being an individual, or being an institution, it is our responsibility to create such system. We as teachers at colleges, at schools, it is our duty to create a system that allow every child to learn, grow, dream, and thrive. Now justice becomes meaningful only when every child feels safe from violence, exploitation, and neglect. Every child is free from discrimination. Every child has access to quality education, health, and opportunities. Every child's voice is heard and taken seriously, because we try to give the first three, but in the majority of the cases, even in our homes, if we see that somewhere or the other, child's voice is not heard, and even though it is heard, it is not taken seriously. So every child's voice is heard and taken seriously, then only we can say that justice has becomes meaningful. Next. Now, as I already said you, that who is a child, any person who is under the age of 18 year is considered as a child. And 20th November, very recently, we have crossed 20th November, which is known as World Children's Day. We all know that 14th November is a Children's Day because it is a birth of Jawaharlal Nehru ji. But under UN Convention, World Children's Day is on 20th November. Every day we celebrate with a different theme. Next. Now, children and their rights. Children are right holders. It's not only that who are adults have their rights, children also have rights, and we should acknowledge that fact. So, children are right holders. They are entitled to support as right holders. The state and its government is obligated to realize the rights of the children. All adults can play a role in achieving children's rights, but state is the primary duty bearer. We all, as an individual, in the capacity of teachers, faculty, professors, advocates, NGO enthusiasts, or anyone, have a important role to play in achieving children's right. But state is the primary duty bearer, because state needs to ensure through their schemes, through their legislation, that child's rights are put in place. So all rights are common for adults and children. Some rights are defined specially for children. Hence, UNRC and also articles in the Constitution of India and special laws, we have segregated set of rights for children in different laws. We will see in the next slides. While all children have all rights, some children need special attention because of the situation, for example, of their disabilities or their mental incapacities. So there are many reasons, we have different laws, and we have to give special attention to such children's. Next. So basically, what are their rights? So under UNCRC, we have four set of rights. So everyone should have this basic idea that for children, we have four category of child rights. First is your right of survival. Second is your right of protection. Third is your right of development. And the fourth is your right of participation. By seeing the word survival, we all know that for survival, under survival, we have different subsets of rights, like right to have food, right to have good nutrition, right to have, shelter. This all comes under survival. Protection from any sort of discrimination, whether it is done at home, school, or in any society. Development, for development, the child has a right to engage in extracurricular activities or any sort of games or any sort of sport that child should not be discriminated. And the last one is very important, which will lead you to my earlier slide where I talked about the voice of a child to be heard. So that is the very important right, that is right of participation, where the child needs to participate in the decision making process also, and their voice to be heard, not just seeing and bringing them on the board, but not listening to their voices, or not taking their voices into account while drafting any sort of policy for them. Next. Now, when I talk about UNCRC, we have basic principles of the convention. First is your all children are equal and have the same rights. Every child has the right to have his or her basic needs fulfilled, and every child has the right to protection from abuse and exploitation, and every child has the right to express his or her opinion and to be respected. It is just the offshoot of the rights which I have just talked about in the earlier slide of survival, protection, development, and participation. It is just the extended version. Next. Coming down to the constitutional framework, where we have specifically put children's rights and their uh, sort of information where the children word and related to children is enshrined. Article 14 has been missed from here because the word directly does not talks about children. So let's talk about the articles which directly talks about children now. Article 21A, we all know, guarantees free and compulsory education to all children between the ages of 16, 6 and 14. And the RTE Act was an extension to this provision. Then Article 24, which prohibits the employment of children below the age of 14 in hazardous industries. Article 39E and 39F is your DPSP, which directs the state to ensure that children are not forced into vocations unsuitable at their age and strength, and that they receive proper care and opportunities for development. Article 45 encourages the state to provide early childhood care and education for children below the age of 6. Article 15(3) permits the state to make special provisions for children, allowing for affirmative action to promote their welfare. So these are few constitutional framework we should be aware of it. Apart from Article 14, 19, 21, these are the golden triangle of the constitution. We all know about that, but these are the specific articles where we talk about children and their well-being. Next. Now, when we talk about child rights, we have key child protection laws in India at place. One should go through it because I am not going to deal it in details in every whatever laws we have. Just I will just put it across for you for your information. The first one, the famous one, is JJ Act, and JJ Act is basically Juvenile Justice Care and Protection of Children Act. Under this, we have two categories of children. One is CNCP, and then second is CCL. CNCP stand for Child in Need of Care and Protection. The second category is CCL, Child in Conflict with Law. So those two have different connotations. CNCP are the set of children like beggars, the children who are founding in any such situation which is not good for their health or their mental well-being. So there are set of categories of children who are considered as CNCP, child in need of care and protection, and CCCL is the category which is children in conflict with law, where we have the juveniles. We have juvenile homes for them, and the children who commit any sort of we don't say the word crime here, any sort of things which are not a par law. So those children are considered as offenders, juvenile offenders, and those are children with conflict in law. And they have the separate set of JJB board who looks into the case, and then they are put into the special homes known as juvenile homes, and another set of trial is being conducted to such offenders. Now, coming to the second act, that is a very famous act, Right of Children to Free and Compulsory Education Act 2009. Then we have POXO, very famous act, POXO Act, Protection of Children from Sexual Offences Act 2012. We have Prohibition of Child Marriage Act. We have Child Labor Prohibition and Regulation Act. We have Child and Adolescent Labor Prohibition and Regulation Act. We have National Food Security Act. We have Preconception and Prenatal Diagnostic Technique, that is PCPNDT Act. We have Factories Act, we have Mines Act. Why I have put Factories and Mines Act? Because there we have the different set of definition of an age of a child. Because in Factories Act it is 14, in Mines Act I am not remembering, it is 14 or 15. It is between 14 or 15 where we considered as the age, because there children are working but with certain set of rules and regulation. Next. So these were the national legislations which are there in our country. Now, coming to our international commitment and India's role. When we talked about UNCRC, so you must all be very aware that we have international covenants, conventions, where India is the party to that. And when India is party to any such conventions, it is the responsibility and it is the commitment of India to adhere to those conventional norms, where the UNCRC, that is the United Conventions on the Rights of the Child, that is UNCRC 1989, India ratified this convention, which set out the civil, political, economic, social, and cultural rights of the children, and which India needs to adhere to their own set of legislations. Then we have ILO Convention number 182 concerning the prohibition and immediate action for the elimination of the worst forms of child labor. Let me tell you, dear participants, that when you Google the worst form of child labor, you will get to know that we have different sort of slaveries also under this child labor. We have trafficking under this child labor. We have child trafficking. And let me in the initial when the announcer was introducing me, I'm also associated with NGO, and I've also worked for the cause of child trafficking, where I personally have the experience of rescuing the children from Bengal industry in Jaipur, and taking them from there again to their native place. And then not only rescuing or rehabilitating, but we also do the reintegration part, because reintegration is very important for any child labor who is brought back to the place and making them the part of the society. So I have the first hand experience for working for this cause, and I have seen the vulnerabilities of children also. And in many cases you will be shocked to know that parents push their children to do such things. The agents, the child traffickers agent, are basically the relatives of the children who are making them to work in such industries. Because the reason why children are taking to any bangle industry, because their hands are very delicate, and to make them go inside the furnace, it is very easy to put the hands of a children to go inside the furnace and bring that bangle back. So that is the process of making of the bangles, and it is very tough to see the sight, and it is very tough even to make them also go back and reintegrate into the society. And then we have ILO Convention number 138, where the concerning the minimum age for admission to employment. So it differs from statute to statute. As I said you, that in Factories Act it is defined as different. In Mines Act is defined as different. Next. Now there is always a question, why children needs protection. Reason: vulnerabilities and dependency, because children are the most vulnerable people. Why? Because they can be manipulated. They do not have their rational thinking that what is good or bad for them. They are easily trapped under any prey. And dependency, because they are not able to earn for themselves, they are not able to do the things for themselves, they are dependent on their parents or relatives. Digital risk nowadays after COVID, what we have seen that, yeah, COVID has given us many things like this online session today we are having. I'm sitting in one state and you people are sitting in different states and having this interaction, but somewhere or the other we are, you know, gone ourselves to the trap of, you know, digital risk in sort of where students where children are doing online classes. There we do not go and check that what they are surfing on internet and they get trapped into that. You have this digital love thing where through social media handles people get friend requests, people get trapped, they don't know what to do further. So those are the things where their children are, you know, more likely to be lured by the fraud people, and they are at more risk than an adult. Then social inequalities, those are the things which we have, therefore children need more protection. Next. Now, pillars of child centric justice, when we talk about justice, so justice have different forms. But when we say child centric justice, it has the four important pillars. The first is your prevention, second is your protection, third is your participation, and the fourth is your rehabilitation. And let me tell you, the pictures which I have used in my whole PPT is copyrighted by my organization. We have taken these pictures from different sites, and we have the copyright, and we have also the consent to use the photos of the children, which is affidavit and signed by their parents. Next. Now, what are the challenges in implementation of child laws in India? So, first of all, there is a lack of awareness. Many families, especially in rural areas, are unaware of the laws and the protection they offer for children. We all know that there are rights. It is not only about children laws or children rights. Even as an individual, we do not know many things. We do not know that what are the rights available to us. I will be taking the questions after I finish this the whole slide. Then I will take one question which is there in the chat box. So we see that we do not know that there are rights in place, and even though we know, we do not know the forum where to go if the rights are infringed or if the rights are not being given to the particular segment. Now, poverty and economic pressure. Poverty drives child labor, child marriage, and other violation of child rights. Families may engage children in work out of economic necessity. Weak enforcement, although laws are in place, their enforcement is often weak due to lack of resources, corruption, or inefficiency in the legal system. Then we have cultural and social barriers. Traditional practices such as child marriage persist in many parts of India despite being illegal. Social attitudes and custom can be significant barriers to enforcing child related laws. Insufficient infrastructure, while laws like the RTA Act ensure education for all, the infrastructure in many schools is lacking with insufficient teachers, facilities, or learning materials. And justice delays, obviously, in cases involving child protection, especially under POXO, judicial delays can cause prolonged trauma for victims and delay justice. So my PPT is still here only. We can end this PPT and I can take each and every question, and I will tell you also that what we have done at Department of Justice on access to justice in general, and I will take you through that how we work at Department of Justice and what are the schemes in Department of Justice. So I will start with a few questions which are there in the chat box. So there is one question, that how does poverty impact a child's access to justice? So I gave you the example, and it is my first hand experience that when we go in the villages, we see that that the person, that the mother and father do not have the wherewithal to even feed the child. In that scenario, they go to brickling factory, they carry their, I think this is a very common sight in India, they carry their young children, even their infants, back at their shoulder. Even in tea gardens also, I have saw this in Assam also. So there they do not have the option because that environment is not safe for the child. Let us forget about education and everything. That environment is not safe for the child. Being there in those high temperatures, they are there with their parents, because that woman cannot keep the child any place else apart from their workplace. And in some places we also see they do not have money to feed the child. They take their child to their workplace, or even they compel their child to work or help. Even in many factories, or not even factories, the apartment or the buildings which is being built, there we see that the small children is helping his or her parents in carrying the brick from one place to another place. So poverty is something is definitely impacting child's access to justice, because justice is not only when we is not only restricted or limited to the people who are juvenile offenders, or people we can say children in conflict with law. It is the basic rights: right to food, right to survive. The first right, let me take you to my PPT first slide, where it is written right of survival. Where is the right of survival? Let's forget about participation, development and protection. The first thing is right of survival. And definitely in India, being a developing country, there are schemes, there are legislation, but still we are lagging. And poverty is very important, very one of the very I can say the basic reason where child's access to justice is denied. Next we can take ma'am, I see many parents on social media making their kids work long hours for videos, shows, and channels. Why don't we have clear rules to protect these children, and why aren't parents held responsible when this crosses the line? It's very true. Day before yesterday, I was taking the viva of the student of Indore Vaishnav Institute, where they were having project on this topic only, the overuse of social media. And there one of the question, the research question was there, and I asked the person who was presenting the research project that, do you think that bringing the law can have the control on social media? Because when you see China, or when you see such states where we have control over social media, so the thing is that the overuse of the overconsumption of social media, overconsumption by the parent, or they are compelling their children to work for those things. We do not have law in place today, we do not have that. But we definitely need, because see, as we all know, IPC was there in 1860, right? Then we got this Nyaya Sanhita. Between these years, India has been changed a lot. When the initial laws of IT Act was there, India didn't know that the things will be so different today. When we have Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, everyone is a reeler, including me. I also make shorts, and I also make Instagram reels, because we were not knowing the fate, how social media will take ahead. But today, in today's world, when we post something of our children, not only in terms of exploitation, we are exposing them to the whole world for child pornography, for child obscenity. We are doing that. We had deep fake videos. We have this Gemini AI chat GPT and what not we today we have, where one can misuse the whole photo of the children and can do anything with that picture. And we have xxx.com. We have so many things where those pictures are published and people are making money off those things. We have few laws for that. We have strict action for child pornography, we have for child obscenity, but we do not have for the things where, because when you see YouTube, if you upload something there, you have the option whether it is for kids or whether it is not for kids. We have that option, but how many of us follow that options? Even though we follow, we only follow whether we will get the likes or not. We do not have that idea that we have to protect the image, or we have to protect the content for the child. So we are just throwing our children in the world where anyone can misuse that thing. So we need to have, definitely we need to have clear rules to protect these children. And parents should be held responsible. Why not? Because in taught, I don't know how many of you have remembered. There was a defense. Loco parentis was one of the defense, where it was the thing that parents can give slap or can scold or have beating to their children. So why not have the same thing to them if they are doing something in contrary for the children? Now coming to the next question. What are the major contradictions amongst various child centric laws? Yeah. So when we see any child, we have Child Labor Prohibition Act, we have labor codes now, we have RTE Act. Now the contradictions, what I see as the point of the person working as a NGO also, that we should have a standard definition, that for child labor, who is a child labor? We have got the definition for crime related things, that any person who is the below of 18 years of age will be considered as a child. After the Nirbhaya case, their debate was 16 and 18, but we still do not have a fixed definition, because when you open the Factories Act, there you have a different age. When you open the Mines Act, there you have a different age. So those are the contradictions, and definitely we these are the loopholes in our own present systems, and that needs to be rectified and that needs to be implemented. Because what we see, it is very easy to say something sitting in a drawing room and debating on the topic कि एज 14 होना चाहिए या 15 होना चाहिए या 18 होना चाहिए, बट आप ग्राउंड में जाते हो तो आप देखते हो कि आपके घर का 18 साल का बच्चा अभी तक बच्चा ही है, और गांव का एक 10 साल का बच्चा behaves like an 18 years. So there's a difference, there's a whole hell lot of difference, because of the environment in which that child is growing, and their family setup is entirely different from the family which is there in an urban area. There is a huge lot of difference. So I do not know that how much making it universal age for labor and everything will be something which will be worked upon in a true sense. But definitely we need to do something, because until and unless we will not strengthen the people, strengthen the parents, we will not able to achieve any access to justice for children. Because first we need to empower the parents. We should first provide schemes for the parents where they should get the bread and butter, then only they can think of giving any justice to their children. What reforms are needed in India to strengthen children's access to justice. So we have different principles. Let me tell you, we have the principle of the best interest of a child. Any decision, whether it is a judicial decision, whether it is any sort of decision or policy are being made, there one has to keep in mind about the best interest of the child. That what is the best interest of the child in any circumstances. There we do not need to see that what is the scenario, what is the circumstances. In every aspect we need to see that what is the best interest of the child in any circumstances, and that should we have the highest level of preference, and that should be the norm, and that is the norm also which we practice. But somewhere or the other that norm is being diluted because of many xyz factors. Now let me tell you that what all we do, because before joining here in Bihar, I was working with Department of Justice, Ministry of Law and Justice, at the post of program manager in the Access to Justice division. So, Ministry of Law and Justice have three wings. I do not know how many of you are well aware of this fact. So, we have three wings there. The first department is your legislative department, which works on the drafting of the bills. Second division and department is your Department of Legal Affairs, where under BCI, Advocates Act, and the implementation of acts comes under their purview. And the third department where I was working was Department of Justice. Under this, the major part was appointment of High Court and Supreme Court judges. Then we had e-courts. Then we had we sponsored infrastructure of the court complexes. Then we have the division where I was working was Access to Justice division, A to J division, where we ran flagship schemes. And the first flagship scheme was Disha. which stands for Designing Innovative Solutions for Holistic Access to Justice in India. That was for 5 years, which is going to complete in the year 2026, because that is tallied with your financial year commission period. So it was for 2021 to 2026. Under that, we had different programs, and the very important and popular program was Law program, where what we did was we made legal advice free of cost to every citizen of India, irrespective of their caste, color, creed, or income status, where any person can go and visit their common service centers, which are situated in their nearby vicinity. And there, that center is being run by VLE, village level entrepreneur, and one can go and say that I need to have an appointment with a lawyer. Then that VLE will make a phone call appointment with a lawyer, and any person can get a free legal advice over a phone call. Then we have also the mobile application Telelaw, one can download from Android or iOS, and there you can have the list of lawyers based on on your jurisdiction, and you can get the appointment of a lawyer on your mobile phone. And then we have the second program known as Nyay Bandhu Pro Bono Legal Services, under which I, in association with different law school, has established 109 pro bono clubs across the country. And there, what we have done, we have created pro bono clubs where students and faculties went into adopted villages and did community driven program, community outreach, and helped the people through their own means in assisting them in drafting, researching for any case law, and making them linked with the lawyer in situated near their jurisdiction. So, and then the third program was legal literacy and legal awareness program. We were working in 16 states through different sort of our partnering agencies. A few national law schools like NLS Bangalore, NLU Delhi, NLU Bhopal were partners. Then we had a partner like IGNU, Doordarshan, where we did programs for access to justice. So in this mechanism, we tried our bit, just a bit, where we tried to create a system, ecosystem, where people can go and have just the GPS that how to avail justice. I never say that justice is something, it is a very big word, very big word, and I do not know that who can grant justice in India. But Department of Justice tried to give at least a GPS map, a map that how to navigate through different ladders, at least to the platform where justice can be sought. So these are the programs where we were have the close intervention of honorable minister also. And we tried to create an platform where citizen can get a sort of assistance. We also had NALSA under us, where we have SALSA, DALSA at district level, and there they have their own periphery where section 12 people of LSA Act 1987 can have the free legal representation in courts. We have LADCS, Legal Aid Defense Council, for criminal laws, for criminal cases. So there are schemes and things are at place, but their implementation coming from government sector, I would say, is a very long battle which we need to win, and we are just a halfway. So in 2047, India will have the 100th year of independence, and I do not know that how access to justice will have a shape at that time. But we are definitely trying to do our bit. We are definitely trying to bring policies, but again, we have the problem at implementation level. It is not just the problem of one people. It is the collective effort where you and I also needs to intervene and do our bits, which are there in our hands. Uh, how do child rights differ from general human rights? So this is something very when we talk about human, the concept of genus and species. So human right is basically a genus, and child right is a species. Things are same because it is like a mother and a children. So mother needs all sort of rights. The same sort of rights are being needed by a children, but the name differs. So it is one or the other thing. We can't say it is a different thing. Yeah, but children needs more protection, because I have already stated the reason why children needs more protection, because they are more vulnerable to the situation, or they are more, lured by any sort of fraud or any sort of things, and they are very easy prey for many people. How do we have to change something in children's difficulty by us? Why is it important to recognize children as independent right holders rather than dependents of their parents? See, there is no debate about being independent right holders or dependents of their parents. The whole point is that here, that every individual is an individual first. Then that person is someone's, right? Then we establish any relationship. So as an individual, as a human, we have right to life, we have right to food, we have right to shelter, we have right to education, we have right to, dignity. So all those sort of rights are also accumulated to the children. And when we talk about children, let me tell you, dear participants, we somewhere or the other we have the biasness. We think that we have a set of children who are there in urban area, their right infringement is different from the person who is staying in rural area, or the children who is staying in urban area, or they are on the streets. So every children have their own requirement of rights, and every children have their own set of problems. So we can't just define into one single bracket or one straight jacket formula. But the four pillars, which I also stated in the earlier slides: survival, protection, development, participation. Maybe a child in our homes, a literate people who, a fixed income is coming, their survival is not a problem, their exploitation is not a problem, their development is not a problem. There might be a problem of participation, as in maybe his or her consent is not taking while opting for the stream after 10th, whether that person wants to go for a medical field, or engineering field, or a law field, or any xyz field. So here comes the right of participation. So every set of children in different setup has their own sort of infringement going on or the other. So we can't just have that there generalize the term that there is an exploitation, or there we have the child rights issue. Every children have their own set of problems. What mechanisms exist to hold governments accountable for violation of child rights? So when I have shown you the legislations. We have JJ Act, we have Child Labor Prohibition Act, we have different acts. So in India, we are mostly focused on JJ Act. There we have different set of machinery in place. At district level, we have DCPU, District Child Protection Unit, where any sort of complaint, any sort of incidents, if any person is seeing of, trafficking or child labor, can directly go and can complain to the mechanism which is there at district level. And from there, the whole setup, is made, of the whole hierarchy is made, and government machinery are placed. We have CWC, Child Welfare Committee, we have JJB, Juvenile Justice Board. We have different sort of machineries placed. In CWC, you have the principal district magistrate is there. In JJB also, you have one judge is there. So you have different sort of enforcement mechanism. We have special courts, fast track courts, even child friendly courts. In Delhi, Saket is the model child friendly court, where you must be aware that we have this such sort of trial in virtual setup, where we do not bring the offender and child in the same courtroom. So there are very norms of any trial happening with a child, because a child is a different person, and their mentality and their, psychologically things are very different with them. So we have different sort of mechanism in place, and they are working also. I will not say they are not working, because I am working in Bihar, and I have a very close knit connection with DCPUs of different districts of Bihar, where people take cognizance. And earlier it was 1098, a child line number, that if you hear or if you see any sort of things happening to any child in any way, suppose, and if you see at a dhaba or a hotel, you can just dial 1098 and you can complain over there, and the rescue team will just come and will take the child from there and will keep them in children homes. So those are the things in place. But the point is that India is a country, we have population of millions, right? So there it is very difficult to nab each and every case. And there is a so we need the mechanism are there, accountability is also there, everything is there, but somewhere or the other things are not very black and white as it should be. So I will not say that things are not there, things are there, people are working also, but we have this mentality of taking a thing at slow pace. Ma'am, can parents or guardians be held liable if they fail to protect a child under the law? So this is very sort of uh, this is not any correct sentence we can say, because for minors act we can't make the parents accountable, but in contract we have a different set of things. Minor Mohri Bibi case you must have read, there was a different context altogether. But in general, for the act of a child, parents can't be held accountable or liable, as the child lacks the maturity to understand the rights and the implications. What is best for them, thus their natural guardian can take the decision in the child's best interest. Collective efforts, yeah, true, true, very true. But some when best interest is also seen, if the matrimonial cases when the custody of child is to be given, there the court and the judge sees that what is the best interest of the child, and in that light the decision is being taken. Children are not safe in their own family. Day to day the cases increases about rape or abuse of their own kid by their father. For that, what things need to focus upon, it's all about awareness, and it's all about in a home it is the first and foremost duty of parents to make their children safe. And the thing is, these are very heinous crime, and for heinous crime, I do not want to comment on that. We should not have any sort of exemption or exception, because one being raped by his or own father is something very grave, and we live in a society nowadays is, we cannot just say that this should not be done or this is not to be said or anything. But we are living in a society where everything is happening around us. There is no definition of morality, there is no definition of ethics. But definitely there should be awareness, and children should be made aware if such incidents are being happen to them. School and colleges should have a big role in creating awareness. They should in many schools we have this good touch bad touch, but they should be taught more beyond good touch and bad touch, that if such scenarios happen with you in your home, whom to contact, whom to share. So those things need to be taught at very early age and stage in one's life. Why does the government not include law in the general these are the policy things we definitely advocate, we do the advocacy that law should be taught, because we have this civics, political science civics in schools, but we do not have per se law. We have Constitution of India there are different articles and preamble which are taught at school level, but not beyond that. Definitely this is a good suggestion, and people are advocating for this, that CBSE and ICSE and different boards should include law as one of their subject in general education system. Let's see uh, till where it will go. Ma'am, what barriers prevent children from reaching the justice system? See, it's very easy. Their incapability, how they will go. Children do not earn. The children do not know. Even they know through different Google or anything. How they will go? They do not have money with them. So the very important or a very one of the major barrier is economic barrier. They do not have the money with them to take decision or go to any court or any sort of government machinery which is there for registering any complaint. So Kalpesh ji, any other question which needs to be addressed?
I think most of the question have been done. I think we can take up last question from what challenges exist in implementing the right to be heard across different culture.
Yeah,
We'll end with this question. Yes, over
yeah,
to you.
yeah. So, cultural barriers, when we talk about cultural barriers, I don't know how many, any one of you from Rajasthan here in the session. There we see that still we have the child marriage prevalent. We have this practice there. So when we talk about such things, there are cultural things where marriage is being fixed in early age, but after 18 or 21 years, they are being married officially. But the thing is that every culture have their own notions, their own things. In that scenario, somewhere we see that children, and especially girl child, let me now move to the girl child thing. We have PCPNDT Act, but still I know clinics where at very initial stage women goes by the pressure of the family and detect whether the fetus is male or female. It's still prevailing in India. So the infringement of rights starts from that day only. When the baby is there in the fetus, as a fetus in mother's womb, from that day only the infringement starts. And if that baby turns into a girl, many things happens to her in the family, that discrimination, not allowing that girl to go to the school, so infringement starts there only. So those are the cultural, barriers or the setup in which we stay. So the only thing, the awareness, making people aware can only help and can go beyond this. Government are doing their bit. I will not say they are not doing anything. They are doing. Bihar is said to be a child free marriage state, and I have seen, it's not just only in the books here. Maybe 0.5% it might be happening anywhere, but majority it is not there, that we are not having any child marriage in Bihar. So government are doing it. Government have their machinery in place to break this cultural norms, but still we are into a long battle. We need to I will definitely want to see in 2047 how the whole system will be looking alike. But yeah, we just can pray and can, we as a being a vigilant citizen, if we see some injustice is being done, we can at least do our bit in raising the voices at the appropriate forums. So that's my take on the whole discussion today. Anything else?
Yes, I think we are done with all the questions. Yes, over to Savita.
Thank you for delivering such a thought-provoking and insightful session, ma'am. Now I request student convener Miss Sabha Gori Naik to propose a vote of thanks. Over to Sabha.
Good evening to all. Esteemed resource person, honorable principal sir, faculty members, students, and all the distinguished participants. I, Sabayas Gorinaik from third year BLLB. It gives me an immense privilege to propose the vote of thanks on this technical session on behalf of K.L.E. Society's Law College Chikodi and Pro Bono India. First and foremost, I express my heartfelt gratitude to our today's resource person, Dr. Sneha Sharma, for sparing her valuable time and for grace this session that truly enriched us. Thank you, ma'am. I extend my sincere gratitude to our principal, sir, Dr. D.B. Solapure, sir, for constant support and guidance in organizing this program successfully. Thank you, sir. My special thanks to Dr. Kalpesh Kumar L. Gupta for their valuable collaborations. Thank you, sir. I also thank to all the participants for their active involvement and discipline throughout this session. Finally, I thank all the faculty members and students. Thank you. Thank you, one and all.
Thank you everyone.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Sneha,
Thank
for
you, ma'am.
valuable time.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you so
Thank you,
much.
ma'am.
Thank you.